Welcome back. Well, let's talk a little bit about the story. Estate agents have complained that they're required to pay accreditation fees to trade in some estates. Now, the Property Practitioners Regulatory Authority says it's received numerous complaints. The organization is encouraging property practitioners to report any illegal practices. So let's bring into this conversation aThato Ramaili, who is the acting CEO of the Property Practitioners Regulatory Authority. Thank you so much, aThato, for your time. A very good morning to you. Let's talk a little bit about what is happening, because it seems as though, number one, there's some shoddy dealings that are happening when it comes to certain estates. But number two, I wonder how much people know about the new regulations or the amendments that have come to the property regulations in this country.
Thank you so much, Faith. The people still don't know about the new regulations, and it is our duty to go out there and, inform the stakeholders and the buyers. And that's why we had published the undesirable practices note 2 weeks ago, to let the people out there know that this is now no longer a prohibited practice in the sector.
What's happening in estates? You have to pay allegedly an accreditation fee just to be able to trade in that?
Yes. So property practitioners are required to pay that fee. And it ranges from anywhere from 1,000 and some estates to 50,000 rands.
Wait a second. Is it 1,000 per unit that they have to pay?
No. It's 1,000 rand per year.
Oh, wow.
And it's an annual accreditation fee that the practitioners are supposed to pay a year in order for you to sell a property. And that's also not a guarantee that they will sell a property. So it's just a fee.
And it can go up to 50,000 rand in that year?
Some estates in the country, that's how much they're charging.
And is it legal?
Not anymore. Under the old dispensation, under the EA Act of 1976, the Act was silent on that. But now under the PPA of 2019, it is no longer it's no longer legal, and it's actually an undesirable practice in the sector.
I've heard time and time again, because I'm a lover of property, but I've heard time and time again that there are a lot of estate agents that have got a sole mandate in certain estates. So you will try come in as a real estate agent, and you'll try sell there, and it looks as though that particular estate will block you from selling there because they truly believe that this particular company or these real estate agents have got a sole mandate to trade. What happens if it's still happening in those estates? Because unfortunately, you guys are the regulatory authority. You set up the policies, you make sure that they're enforced, but you can't police every single estate and how they do business. It would just be simply impossible to do so. So how then do you start making sure that people know that you don't have a sole mandate to be the only trading real estate agent in that particular space?
So, Faith, the sole mandate is what the seller gives a property practitioner. So I'm saying you're the sole practitioner who can sell my home.
Yeah.
That one is legal. It's the prerogative of any seller, right? But if we're saying this practitioner or real estate agent is the only one who can sell in this estate, that is illegal.
Illegal, yeah.
And that's why we are calling upon residents of these said estates or gated communities, and also practitioners in the sector, to bring these news to the regulator so that we can enforce, because ultimately that's our job. We're supposed to regulate, and you're right, it's impossible that we can know of anything that is happening in the industry. But if you call it upon us, it is our duty to regulate and ensure that people do abide by the prescribed legislation.
What is the price or consequence of these property practitioners violating the law and giving, let's say, one estate agent the right to sell properties within that particular complex or whatever, that particular estate, by actually having these accreditation fees? What consequence do they face?
So once it is reported upon us, we need to investigate and ensure that it is true, it is indeed true. And now with the new legislation, we are now authorized to give compliance notices. So we will be issuing fines to those who are contravening the legislation. So there will be fines imposed to complexes and estates that are charging and are continuing to charge property practitioners.
But I hope it's not 1,000 rand fine, because those guys can make it in a day, right?
So, no, it is not. Okay. So also in the new legislation, under regulations, chapter 38, section 38, I believe, in the regulations, there are fines. So whether it is a minor fine or a major contravention, the fees do vary. They can go in the thousands.
Yeah. The only thing is that we know how it's almost the same as price fixing, right? So we know how these people are corrupt, and we like to call it collusion. It's not collusion, it's corruption. Let's call it what it is. And in this place of corruption, a lot of them, what they do is they keep the money saved on the side, knowing very well that you're going to find them. Right? So it's let's store up for that day that the Property Practitioners Regulatory Authority finds us, and then we can just simply hand over the fine to them and the like, and then it can continue time and time again because they've saved up money to pay the fine anyways. They know it's coming, so they're going to pay the fine. I mean, anybody that is corrupt will say, we know it's coming, we're going to have to pay a price. Let's just make sure there's in the bank account that there's a price, and then you pay it over. How then do we stop it from happening time and time again? Because if people think that they can get away with it by simply paying a fine, then it will continue by just having cash, where there's 100,000 or 200,000 in the bank account, knowing very well that at the end of the day we get to make our money and our bottom line. So how do we stop it from repeating?
For me, Faith, it would be that the homeowners, right, in these complexes know what the legislation prescribes, right? Because you'll find oftentimes it's the homeowners associations who are contravening. And if you're a homeowner, in your case, Faith, if you know that your managing agents or your body corporate is contravening, and actually your levies that are supposed to pay to upkeep the estate is now paying fines to the PPRA, surely you wouldn't want that to continue, right? So if we're saying homeowners, are you aware this is happening? And are you aware that this is your money that you're paying in levies that is going to essentially be used to fines? I'm sure you guys will, come together and say this surely must stop. So I think, just educating the homeowners themselves, because 90%, I'm even inclined to say 100% of homeowners don't know that these practices are undesirable and they shouldn't be continuing.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. A lot of homeowners don't know. So let's say that a homeowner wants to sell their home, and the estate says to them, yes, you can sell your home, go ahead, but you're supposed to use this real estate agent and this only real estate agent. And they keep going through a back and forth. How then do they start gathering evidence to give to you guys? Because that's the only way that this is going to stop, right?
Yes.
So what must they do?
So obviously there'll be an email, managing agent so-and-so, I would like to put my property on the market. Managing agent will respond and say, no, but I want only Susan to sell my property. Then that email in itself, it will be enough for a homeowner to lay a complaint with the regulator, with the PPRA.
Maybe let's give us a little bit of education as we close this. So under the new regulation or the amended regulation, what are the rights of homeowners who want to sell their properties, and where, especially when it comes to having that, and it's not maybe a sole mandate, but maybe having the monopoly to sell in that particular agent. What do they need to know, and what are their rights in that regard?
I always say, one, it's your home, right? And I always say that you must transact with people that you like. So there's no managing agent that can tell you you only need to use this particular real estate firm. So they need to know that you can use whoever you want to, ultimately you're the one who will be paying the professional fee or the commission. So you must use whoever you desire, and that's totally permissible in the sector.
Thato, I'm hoping that more and more people will be able to know. I think more than anything else is educating people about their rights. And I liked what you said, that you are the homeowner. They're not the homeowner. You are the homeowner. So ultimately, you're the one that gets to have the decision at the end of the day. Make sure that you educate yourself. Much appreciated for your time, though.
Thank you so much.
This morning, of course. And that was aThato Ramaili, who is the acting CEO of the Property Practitioners Regulatory Authority. There you have it, homeowners. Make sure that you are not swindled and made to pay these accreditation fees, or your estate paying these or your estate insisting that the real estate agent pays accreditation fees, just so that you can have your home sold by one particular real estate agent. More than anything else, know what your rights are in this regard.